is up, guys? Welcome to Heist Life, my first ever vlog. I'm going into a day in the life of me, an e-commerce entrepreneur. Everything in this is as real as it gets, except for this wake up stage. I actually woke up like 10 minutes ago. Let's get dressed. Let's start the day, get cracking. Hope you guys dig this and have some fun with me. Organ office is like the main stuff I use for like the desk drawer, standing desk, which admittedly I don't use a whole lot. I've got the fluid stance thing that I can stand on, and there's some fluid stance accessories. I'll leave links down to all the stuff below. I've got a Vesta board, throws up like a motivational business quote at 10 a.m. every day. Something I highly recommend, two things. Number one is a kick-ass office chair. So that's a Herman Miller chair. It's like worth every dollar if you spend a ton of time in the office. The other is a monitor. So I've got a 42-inch curved Samsung monitor that I run like 3 things on. So I usually go like Slack, main work area, and maybe like a secondary work area. So you can kind of do 3 monitors. Good buddy of mine works for a local company called Bridge. So I've tested out like a pre-launch version of their Pro Dock. So it's like a MacBook Pro Dock. One cable into the monitor connects to everything here, which is sweet. I've got my audio interface, Stream Deck there for podcast stuff. The best mic on planet Earth, I highly recommend the Shure SM7B. It's like what Joe Rogan uses and a lot of people. And then if I'm doing Zoom calls, I got one of my Sony cameras here. And then I've got like these wooden sound panels like throughout the room that kind of do sound stuff. But how I start every day now and have for a good while is meditating. So I'll either do like a 30 or 60 minute meditation. Today I'm gonna do like a 30-ish minute one. And I should note that badass guitar right there was gifted to me by my uncle. It's actually my great uncle, so it's like a 1940s National, so I keep that there just because it looks cool and it's good family memory. All right, so one of the most powerful things I've discovered really the last year, but specifically the last 6 months, is meditation. So I throw something to totally black out my eyes. I've got my AirPods in, playing a guided meditation. The main goal is just to settle in and like totally and completely relax my body, where I'm just trying to tune my emotional state. I'm trying to settle into a space where I'm kind of tied into my future, what I want, how I want to feel. It could be across work, that could be personal, a whole bunch of different dimensions. And then when you come out of it, it's just like you feel primed for the day. It's like one of the best things that you can do. Here's a song. All right, so the meditation is done. It's the best way to frame the day and like get your emotional state ready. So I am dialed. We're now gonna kind of walk through the day and map it out so you can kind of get an idea of what's to come. So let's jump to my vibe board. All right, so let's map out the day. And again, most days I'll jump on this vibe board and kind of think through primarily work stuff and kind of the key things that I want to focus on. But first things first, you got to set the day. So you've seen me wake up without an alarm. I try not to touch my phone until like 10, 11 a.m. I jump on Slack real quick just to see if there's any messages from the team before they go to bed. I meditate. What you're going to see next is I like to get 10 minutes of light. It's actually Andrew Huberman who recommends this. Apparently it like sets the tone for the day and gets all the chemical stuff going to let your body know that it's ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna walk to the mail, and then I like to grab a coffee. Moving on, we then kind of get into the meat of the day. So sometimes I'll have meetings in the morning, sometimes I won't have any, but today I've got a meeting. It's actually confidential on a new business project. So this meeting was about 45 minutes just to really map out what's gonna happen the next 3-4 months. Super exciting conversation, super exciting project, but protecting the witnesses here and blurring out names. But that was my confidential meeting. And then I've got 2 main goals in this work block this morning. One is to map out Prime Day next week. So there's a bunch of stuff with A+ content and just some to-dos that we need to get in order that we want to kind of lock in the end of this week so we're ready to roll into early next week for Prime Day. And then I've got some video planning stuff. I'm actually gonna kind of plan this video out a little bit. First thing I do is really just review the stats of the previous days. So I get a morning digest email with review updates, with financial performance, what the team did the previous day. So I'll start out by reviewing that. Then what I'm really focused on is Prime Day next week. So I'm reviewing all of our deals which are set up. I'm looking at where our missing A+ content is across the SKUs that we're doing deals on so that I can ensure that we're dialed for that. And then I'm just kind of timelining actually this vlog and getting some of my initial notes and thoughts together, which I will need to pass on to my editor. Again, short, effective, high leverage activities that matter in my business. That's what I focus on in the work block. That's what I'm focusing on here. Knock it out. And I usually do a heavier block in the morning than I do in the afternoon. That takes us to like midday. I think it'll be around 12 today. I'm gonna drive over to Park City Mountain Resort and go mountain biking with a buddy of mine. The fall colors are going off, so it's gonna be really, really sick. I can't wait for that. In the winter, I'll ski, and then twice a week, I'll do kind of a 90-minute weight workout. When I get back from that, I'll do some eating, coffee, and chill time. My favorite part of the day, this is going to be the mountain bike ride. This is Park City Mountain Resort. There's like 400 miles of single track mountain biking in Park City. The total ride is like 12 miles, 1,800 feet of climbing. Takes us about an hour and 40 minutes. We're kicking off with Jenny's Trail here. Let's get after it. All right, so we're a little over halfway, 4.7 miles, about 1,500 feet of climbing. We've done Jenny's. And that in the background is one of Park City's old mines. We made it, we did all the hard work. About 7 miles, 1,800 feet of climbing. Jay is chilling by the yurt. So now the fun stuff begins. We get to go downhill for like 25-30 minutes. We are back from the ride and ready to eat. I do not like to cook lunch and take the guesswork out of it. I get like 5 or 6 factor meals a week that we use. So we are going to have a sage chicken and maple butter sweet potato. Highly recommend it. I've tried a lot of these services and Factor just tastes really good. So it's an easy way not to have to think about food. I'm finally gonna fuel up. I like to eat as late as possible into the day, and if I'm doing a cardio workout like the ride, I try to fast for 16 hours and then keep my eating within an 8-hour window. Today I'm gonna go grab a coffee from the local shop just to get out of the house. There's a shop like 5 minutes up the road that I really like. It's a good place to just kind of chill and kind of maybe plan the rest of the afternoon. Something I bought last year was this bad boy. Park City is notoriously really hard to find parking, especially at the ski resorts. So I bought this so I didn't have to deal with parking, but I use it now all the time. It's an amazing way to get around town. So if you want to challenge your masculinity and have a delicious Heist approved afternoon snack, a chai latte on almond is a good way to go. And then when I get back, it's basically work block number 2. So we're gonna actually do a sample review. We're gonna get a new product that I'm evaluating. We're gonna unbox it, install it, test it out. And then I've got a new Shopify module that I'm dropping in my course, the FBA Blueprint. So I've got to review everything there. We've done a bunch of SOPs for it. So I just kind of want to review everything. We'll push that content out. I've got to do a post in our Facebook group. I got to set up some email notifications so people know that there's some new content. So this is part of the day that I'm super excited about. When I was in London and New York last May going to Danny McMillan's Seller Sessions event, I noticed a ton of e-bikes. So I'm like, maybe there's something in e-bikes. It's super saturated in the general retail environment, and there's a ton of companies that are 9 figures plus killing it. But on Amazon, I think there might be a white space. This is the box of the sample. So it's really big. It's expensive in terms of COGS. So you're looking at like 6-figure commitment on the initial order. Requires an $80,000 cert. And the way the bike industry works, which I understand both the customer and the industry and the manufacturing well, is the frames, the components, the batteries, the wheels, the tires, they all come from a different manufacturer. So there's some complexities, and I actually like complexity. So what I'm doing specifically for a first sample review is I'm making mental notes on the customer experience when they open it. Where am I getting hung up? And if I'm getting hung up and actually know the product, a consumer is definitely going to get hung up. So what are some ways that we can improve the initial onboarding customer experience? Then I'm really just taking note of the product quality, etc. And I'm testing functionality, folding the bike here to get a good idea on whether I like the quality of the first run. So we are installed, super impressed with the quality of the bike. There's a lot of really cheap e-bikes, especially on Amazon. And this one's just really well built. Frame's awesome, tires are good, brakes are awesome. It's got Shimano components, which is pretty rare. Generally speaking, really stoked. What I'm not stoked about is it didn't come with a battery, which is obviously pretty important for e-bikes. So can't see the screen, can't test the motor, can't test the lights. I noticed that there was no dangerous goods labeling on the box, so maybe they're gonna ship me the battery separately. But I've already been on WeChat figuring out if it was my screw up, not knowing there wasn't gonna be a battery here, or if there was something with the sampling process. This is pretty similar to the e-bike I bought in terms of, you know, there's a decent amount of install effort, so your Joe Schmo person may have a difficult time with it. So I'm definitely gonna look at some things to improve the install process. First, I wanna see if it can come folded so that we can save on box size dimensions and Amazon sized here. It's gotta come with Allen keys and some things to install the pedals. The front brake caliper needed to be installed. I want that to be pre-installed. So just some general user experience stuff I think we could really kind of clean up and make it better to avoid issues. Also, the wheels weren't true, so there's gotta be some new QA processes for the wheels to make sure that they don't wobble a little bit. It's got to come with the battery, obviously. But yeah, first impression's pretty cool. Definitely something you can carry up the stairs. It's going to be a little bit big with the battery in it. We've got some holes in here for cargo stuff for a grocery store. So I think one of the things we're going to want to look at next is accessories. And really the next 4 or 5 months, we'll iterate on it and see if we have something on our hands that's worth what would be a pretty significant financial investment. So that's installing and looking at a sample from China. That is a wrap, guys. Hope you guys dug this. If you're interested in more vlogs, let me know in the comments. Maybe I will do a winter edition with skiing. How I started my day. Hopefully you guys got some nuggets there. How I structure my work blocks. Most importantly, getting out, doing something physical and having some damn fun. That's why we do this. Waking up without an alarm clock, living life on your terms. Quick little update too, I have heard back on WeChat and the e-bike didn't come with the battery. I'm actually gonna get it next week, so I'll be able to fully test that. But the adventures continue. If you guys wanna understand how I've built my e-commerce Amazon FBA businesses, there's a link down below to my course, the FBA Blueprint. But otherwise, hit subscribe. We will see you next Monday where we drop another weekly video. Cheers.